there's a lot of misconceptions about self-compassion. It's actually part of the reason why I was nervous about presenting today, because I feel like self-compassion has a really bad rap. I think a lot of people think it's just about love yourself, right? Like, wow, cool, thanks, very helpful. But it's not just about love yourself, right? A lot of people think that if you just love yourself, you dismiss yourself of responsibility, you make excuses, you're lazy, you become complacent, you might overindulge. But research shows otherwise. So I'm going to talk about the research. And I think you will all be a little bit mind blown at just how much research there is to support self-compassion. And this applies to most of our goals in health and fitness. People with more self-compassion tended to engage in less unwanted behavior. What is something you didn't want to engage in your fitness journey? Maybe that's overeating, overindulging, not getting enough sleep, binge watching TV, which impacts your sleep, right? Potentially. People with more self-compassion tend to forgive themselves for mistakes without foregoing responsibility. I think that's huge because, like I said, a lot of us tend to think that self-compassion will make us forgive ourselves, but then we never learn anything. But that couldn't be further from the truth. We learn so much through self-compassion. People with self-compassion face their mistakes more easily in order to address them without being flooded by negative emotion like guilt and shame. Think about how that might apply when you go off track, off your plan. How do you face your mistakes? Do you push them away? Just leave them under the rug or whatever, and then it builds up, all the guilt and the shame, then you end up binge eating, right? People with self-compassion address it. They face their mistakes, they're honest with themselves. And this is pretty cool. People with more self-compassion regulate their eating better. More. There's plenty more. People with more self-compassion tend to have greater happiness, greater psychological well-being, take more personal initiative, have higher levels of emotional intelligence, which can help your personal relationships, right? Have more curiosity, greater capacity to deal with pressure, less fear of failure, less rumination, less perfectionism. I saw this a lot in the workshop that Marissa did. A lot of you are perfectionists. I used to be a perfectionist. I'm not going to speak that into existence. A lot of you used to be perfectionists. You're no longer perfectionists because you're changing that narrative. Decreased body shame and body dissatisfaction, which has implications and are associated with eating pathologies, eating disorders, unhealthy behaviors, decreased physical activity, psychological issues like depression and anxiety. And finally, people with more self-compassion have alternative ways of valuing themselves beyond external appearance. That's huge. And if that didn't click with you, think about that. If you can value yourself beyond your external appearance, you create much more headspace for other things. You create much more self-confidence, much more self-belief that you can pursue any goal, right? Because now you're not focused on the outcome. You're focused on improving yourself as a person, who you are, right? When you have an alternative way of valuing yourself, you're going to get what you deserve because you know you deserve it, right? Self-compassion can do that. So,